Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Morning Five on Monday, December 15th, 2014. I am Dave Biddle. Ohio State redshirt freshman quarterback J.T. Barrett placed fifth in the Heisman Trophy voting on Saturday. The award was won by Oregon junior quarterback Marcus Mariota by a landslide. Wisconsin running back Melvin Gordon was second, Alabama wide receiver Amari Cooper was third, and TCU quarterback Trevon Boykin was fourth. And guess who was sixth? Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston, the winner of last year's Heisman Trophy. Yes, your record is safe for another 2 years at least, Archie Griffin, because Mariota is expected to turn pro after this season. As for Barrett, he will have 3 more chances to win the award, presuming he stays at Ohio State through his senior season. But with everything that has happened, is Barrett guaranteed to be the Buckeye starting quarterback next year? That's a question on the minds of a lot of Buckeye fans, and I'm going to break it all down in a story called The Quarterback Quandary of 2015, which I will post on the site tomorrow for subscribers. With Barrett, Cardale Jones, perhaps Braxton Miller, Stephen Collier, Joe Burrow, and Torrance Gibson, the Buckeyes will have an embarrassment of riches at the most important position on a football team. So again, I'm going to break it all down in a story tomorrow that we will post in the afternoon. Now to recap the big recruiting weekend that just wrapped up for the Buckeyes, let's go out to the dean of Ohio State football recruiting, Bill Kurelic.
With the Buckeyes playing in the Big Ten Championship game the weekend of December 6th, that meant that wasn't a recruiting weekend for Ohio State, making this past weekend the Buckeyes' first post-regular season recruiting weekend. The Ohio State staff welcomed in a dozen prospects on official visits to Ohio State over the weekend. All but 2 of them had already committed to Ohio State. The 2 that were in Columbus as uncommitted prospects were defensive tackles Christian Wilkins from Connecticut and Robert Landers from Huber Heights Wayne High School in Ohio. I'm told that everything went well with Wilkins' visit, but he did not, as expected, make a commitment to Ohio State. However, the hope is that the Buckeyes gain ground on Penn State and Stanford, and time will tell, but everything did go well over the weekend. Robert Landers, also things went well with him. He felt comfortable at Ohio State, but at this point has not flipped his commitment from West Virginia to Ohio State. He wants to make his official visit to West Virginia in January and then make a final decision. But everything went very well with Robert Landers, a 6'1", 295-pound defensive tackle from Wayne High School that really exploded during the second part of his senior season. He was great in the playoffs as Wayne made it to the state championship game in Division I. The other prospects, as I mentioned, were all already committed, but a couple of noteworthy items to mention is that quarterback Joe Burrow, Mr. Football for the state of Ohio, told me after his official visit to Ohio State that he is absolutely 100% committed to Ohio State. Of course, there was speculation with all the quarterbacks at Ohio State that perhaps he would change his thinking, but he said that's not the case. He is 100% committed to the Buckeyes, and everything was fantastic on his official visit to Ohio State over the weekend, which is great news. The 6'4", 200-pound Burrow is an outstanding prospect, and I wouldn't be at all surprised, I've mentioned this before, if he ended up being the guy that eventually takes over for J.T. Barrett. Also, Jerome Baker made his official visit to Ohio State, and his father told me that the thinking remains that Baker will likely play on defense at Ohio State, though nothing is a certainty. He said that he feels from going on the visit with Jerome this weekend to Ohio State that Jerome could end up playing any of the 3 linebacker positions at Ohio State. Offense can't be ruled out, but the thinking continues to be more towards the defensive side of the ball for Jerome Baker. Now shifting gears to a prospect that is committed to Ohio State that made an official visit elsewhere this past weekend. Defensive back Carlton Davis from Miami Norland High School made an official visit to Miami, and the news is encouraging on that front as well, as I spoke with both Carlton Davis and his father yesterday and last night, and both said Carlton remains an Ohio State commitment. They both mentioned that the visit to Miami went well, and Carlton told me that he would not necessarily say that Miami is out of the running, but he did say that he is definitely still committed to Ohio State. He will make an official visit to Arkansas in January before making a final decision, and this is one that it could go well into January before a final decision is made, and perhaps it would go all the way to National Signing Day. But the good news is for now is that Carlton Davis remains an Ohio State commitment, and he is a guy that the Ohio State staff definitely wants to keep in their 2015 recruiting class.
Thank you, Bill. Great stuff. I know fans are hoping the Buckeyes will land both Wilkins and Landers to fortify that defensive line. One quick note, I want to let the listeners know we'll be interviewing Urban Meyer and some players on Thursday, perhaps some assistant coaches as well. A lot of readers have been asking when the next interviews will be held, and Ohio State sent something out over the weekend that the next opportunity will be this Thursday. So look for wall-to-wall team coverage this Thursday, which will be the first interviews the team has had since Sunday, December 6th, right after they learned they qualified for the inaugural college football playoff. Thanks again to the Dean of Ohio State Football Recruiting, Bill Kurlick. Thanks to all the listeners out there. I hope you have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.